Hey folks, here we are again, another Irish whiskey review with me, Marty Macaulay. I hope you're all well, doing fine. Weather was a bit rubbish down here today, but I suppose it's spring, so it could be nice. You get sort of smorgasbord of weather. You know, you're never really sure what you're going to get, but wasn't particularly nice today. But we decided that we would have a little try of this. This is the new Redbreast 10 single pot still, cask strength at 59.1% ABV, limited edition, batch number 1. Yes, now this is a new interpretation of an old whiskey, and it gives you a whole bit of bump on the back of this rather nice box. I quite like this bit of packaging. It's quite nice. And it says on it Birdhouse exclusive. So on it we have exclusive, limited edition, cask strength, batch number 1. Can you see what they're trying to do here, folks? They're trying to get people to collect it, or make it very desirable for people to collect. And yeah, so that's what they're trying to do, and quite successfully to a point. Because they released this on their Birdhouse website, as it's known, but there were 7,000 bottles, and it sold out in a day at €100 a bottle. Okay, so that's €700,000 in turnover in one day. Now, call me a bit of a cynic, but it is a bit of manipulation going on here. There are certain things happening that are taking people to a place in terms of buying whiskey that's maybe not ideal. They are releasing products that people want. Good on them, that's perfectly acceptable. That's the way the market goes, and that's the way things are. But they are releasing these, causing a bit of a furore, and then people are putting them on auction sites and selling them. And it's not ideal, because in an ideal world this wouldn't happen. But the people selling them, I don't know whether they are trying to pay off their mortgage or COVID restrictions. To each their own. That's the way things are going to be. But when you see this style of thing happening all the time these days, there's lots more of it happening, and people are doing quite well out of this. Everybody's kind of doing well, except the end user, who's having to pay well over the odds. But if they're happy to pay it, that's entirely up to them. But it does feel as if we're being slightly duped into this kind of thing. And there is a bit more focus on people collecting whiskey rather than drinking it. And probably long term that's not the best situation for anyone to be in. But it's the way the market is. I play it myself, I do that game, I do buy stuff with the intention of keeping it and having it for a while and maybe selling it on. I have some collectibles, I have stuff open, etc, etc. For example, I bought 2 of these. And the reason I bought 2, I always knew I'm not going to lose money on the second bottle. So I bought this one, get it open, have a drink of it. The other one, it's not going to be worth any less than I ever paid for it. It might go up a little bit in value. If it does, I can sell it and not maybe pay for this one. So I technically get this one for free. If this is really good, then I always have a second bottle. So I'm kind of hedging my bets. And I think that there's an awful lot of people doing that kind of thing too. But it does feel as if we are being manipulated a little bit. But I don't really blame anybody for any of this, because it makes perfect sense. Irish distillers, managed to pull in 700,000 euro in a day, and there's not too many businesses could do that. Now, they'll not do that all the time. They can't do it. They can't do these kind of things over and over and over again. They're kind of a sort of every few month trick pony, but it is what's happening. Rightly or wrongly, that's what's going on at the moment. But they are bringing out releases that people really have been looking for. So yeah, now I've had this open a little while. I opened this bottle the day I got it, left it, and then I opened this. Now, as I say, on the box it gives you lots of bumf. It's triple distilled, matured in the finest oak casks, matured in malted bond by Irish distillers. A whole history: 1912, the first mention of Redbreast. 1970s, running low, having first appeared in the 1960s. The last known Redbreast 10-year-old bottling are released in the early 1970s. And it continues over here. 1985, the last of Gilbey's. The last bottling of Redbreast under the Gilbey's banner occurred in 1985, because this was what happened. It was bottled by someone else. Now you can still pick these up at auction, and they're not that expensive, to be honest. So 1991, relaunched, Redbreast was reintroduced by Irish Distillers Limited after a half-decade absence. 2021, Redbreast 10-year-old reappears to celebrate the revival of Redbreast and the 30th anniversary of its rebirth. Redbreast 10-year-old is launched exclusively for the Birdhouse members, of which I am one. And the story continues with you. Pass it on. So, lots of bump on the back about the robin redbreast, the only bird that sings continuously throughout the dark Irish winters. It's also the most aggressive bird imaginable. The number one cause of death for robins is murder by other robins. When people say, "Oh, the wee robin flew down to be beside me," it's because they're really, really territorial and really, really aggressive. So when they fly down to be beside you, really they're sort of thinking, there's almost cat-like in that they're sizing you up to try and get you to go out of their territory, you know. So yeah. So Redbreast is the traditional distillate, is married with the finest oloroso sherry butts and bourbon casks to produce a flavour that harkens back to a bygone age of whisky. Made with malted and unmalted barley, it's triple distilled in copper pot stills, blah 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 blah. So, yeah. Quite like the box, as I say. Quite plain, quite simple, nothing wrong with that. The bottling, slightly redesigned bottle. Again, gives you a little bit of bump in the background. Definitive pot still whiskey. Some tasting, what's in it. Historic member of the family. So yeah, another reintroduction. Billy Layton's got his name on the bottle, so if he's putting his name to it, it's always a good sign when a blender's putting his name to a product, because it shows his confidence in it. Now, what's it like? Now I've had this open a little while. I've let it sit, and I've put a little bit of water in it. I put about a teaspoon in it. Now there's full measure in there, and I put a teaspoon of water in it and let it lay down for a little bit, let it open up, and it really helps it. Try and let this open. When I poured that, tried it, it's very, very OTT with the alcohol. So if you want to experience it at its best, put water in it, let it sit for, I'm sure that's sitting at least half an hour now. At least half an hour. You know, when you're letting it sit, you get much more of the wood coming through. There's nuts. There's a very nice, very rich, creamy note coming off it. There's a small hint of menthol, which is likely coming from the fact that even though I put a teaspoon of water in it, it's the alcohol, and the alcohol's coming off in such a way that light, almost rubbing alcohol, there's quite a lot of alcohol still coming off this, but the way it's coming off has toned down and rounded out a little bit to give it a little bit more of a mellower feel to it. And there's a tiny little bit of lemon zest there too. So, yeah. Now, rich, creamy, jammy notes coming from the sherry. There's lots of vanilla there too. Nice, mellow, smooth hit of vanilla in the finish. The spice is there, but it's not particularly dominant. There's not that much of a big spice coming in. Pot still spice. It's a funny one. It feels like it should be there, but it's slightly missing. It's a nice long finish now, I have to say, for a 10-year-old whiskey. The length of finish is very impressive. And maybe he overstayed it that wee bit in terms of the spice. The spice sort of comes quick and goes. It's picked up. So if you're not really sort of concentrating on it, you sort of miss it. There's a mint at the end of the finish, so you're getting nice bits of vanilla, nice bits of jammy notes, boiled fruit, but like a berry sauce. It's coming down like a berry sauce. This is quite good, but it's not. This won't be as good as some people think it is. That's, if I'm being totally honest. Lots of people love this because they're fairly new to the whole pot stills thing, and they'll buy in a little bit into the collectible, cask strength, one of a kind, blah 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 blah, all that kind of jazz. This is okay. It's not as good as the 12-year-old cask strength, certainly not. It's a nice addition to the range, yes, but you have to remember that if you're going to go and buy Middleton 12-year-old, you can buy it for about £40. This was 100. This was €100, so it's well over twice the price of. It's over twice the price of Redbreast 12. And if I was totally honest, if I was going to buy one, I would buy the Redbreast 12 over this. But Redbreast 12 is very good, so you have to factor in all of that in. So you can't really compare like for like. But when it's got a Redbreast label on it, then it has to have a comparison with its family members. That's just the way it is. There's people who say, oh no, they're two different animals, but they're not really. They're in the same family of brands. Now, I'm trying to think of a score. We'll let you get a little bit of the colour. So you see the colour? I sometimes forget to let you see the colour, and it doesn't. It doesn't matter, to be honest. I think, does it say it's chill filtered? It kind of feels as if it is. I'm trying to see if it says if it's chill filtered or not. It doesn't say it's not. It doesn't say it's not, so I won't say it's chill filtered. I like this, but if I'm honest, I would put it. I would put it that it's good, but not blow your socks off. I would, if someone offered me two bottles of Redbreast 12 or one bottle of this, I would go for the 2 bottles of Redbreast 12, which probably gives a good indication of where I think it is. In terms of score, it's heading on to the collector's market because it all sold out, but it'll not go up much in value. I don't see it skyrocketing in any way, shape or form. So if I'm going to give it a score, I'm going to give it at the price that it was bought at, which is in and around €100. So we'll say a little, say £85 or thereabouts. I'm going to give it 6.5 out of 10, simply because in its family I think there's better offerings for less money, if I'm totally honest. The cask strength version of it again is going to reflect and so on and so forth, but if someone offered me 2 bottles of Redbreast 12 or a bottle of this, I would go with Redbreast 12. So kind of says where I would be with it. 6.5. Yeah, that's where I'd be happy enough to leave that. Good, but don't believe the hype. Don't worry if you've bought a bottle or are considering opening it and thinking, oh, what am I going to do? You'll not lose a lot of money in terms of what it'll not go through the roof the way some of the other whiskies are at the minute. It's just, I'm quite happy because my whiskey collection has increased in value significantly, but I think there's a bit of craziness going on at the minute, if I'm totally honest. But if you bought a bottle of this and are tempted to open it, because I say tempted because that's the way things are going at the minute, don't be scared of opening it. You'll not lose a fortune of money and you will rather enjoy it, but don't buy into the hype. Okay, you open it, a little drop of water, let it sit for a while and get that creaminess, get that nice richness, and the little bit of spice that pops in and out. It's not a massive kick of spice in it. So with that, I shall bid you farewell. I hope the weather's better tomorrow, because this lockdown and having nothing to do, the weather's playing a significant part in people's lives, more so than ever. So fingers crossed, weather's good tomorrow and I'll get a walk down to the beach. So take care, folks, and I shall see you hopefully soon.